So this is Boogie. It's a fin builder from New Zealand I met through the internet a couple of years ago. And I'm Martin from Earth, speed surfer. I got interested in his stuff after reading a lot of his fin work, construction work, and his analysis on fins in general. As most windsurfers know, fins are a really important factor, perhaps even the most important factor while trying to go fast, because if a fin doesn't track, you either crash or you go really slow, whereas with a sail and any board combo you can still move around, but crashing is not fun at going at high speeds. So yeah, I dare say it's just about the most important factor in windsurfing, even though if you see the sizes are really small compared to sails or boards. For a common windsurfer using a board, for instance, if you use a Fanatic which got a single concave or an F2 which got the big cutouts, what I feel is a soft and forgiving fin on an F2 settles the board down, whereas with a Fanatic you can get away with a little bit stiffer fin. How comes?
Well, on windsurfing, because you are a very flexible system. I mean, you don't have like a yacht, you don't have stays. The mast is movable in all three dimensions, and the whole system is very, very dynamic, and you're holding it with the own tension of your body. You always have to look for the best possible balance of the whole system, and depending on how the rig is set up, how the board is constructed, what kind of curves it has, what rocker lines, volume distribution, all that stuff influences the balance on how you set up your sail. And the fin, that particular fin that you use on that board has to match that balance. You have to get everything into balance. That's why you need different fins for different boards, because boards are constructed differently and they behave differently. Yeah. So you need different fins on it. Yeah.
And what about these fins? You're also talking about sections. This one has got a wider section. This is the same. No, or a wider. Sorry, so a wider cord length.
If you look at a fin, you've got the most prominent factor of a fin, which a lot of people, which most people see the first time, is the outline shape of a fin. And the outline shape of a fin is very important because it defines the area. Because the size of a fin is not only the length of the fin, but it is the actual area of the fin, which is very important. And the outline shape also determines a lot of the dynamic factors of a fin, on how controllable it is. It has influences on the twist and on the flex characteristics of the fin. And then once you go past the outline, you actually look at the cross-sectional shape, and this is, the section or the profile of the shape, and that one is very important for the amount of lift a fin produces, and certain other behaviors as well, on how good a fin performs at very high speeds, at very low speeds, where in the
That's
power range.
That's where we talk about drag buckets nowadays. That's becoming a popular term in the speed surf elite.
You have to, each section has its own characteristics. They have, depending on the angle of attack that they go through the water.
And the section is basically the profile, eh?
It's basically the profile, yeah. It's the profile shape or the cross-sectional shape.
This is the Z fin of yours, and this is the D2 fin, which has got a lesser cord length. What basically would make the difference? It's especially the softness of the fin. It's giving you the opportunity to build a softer fin.
Well, there's, these fins are very similar, other than that they are different length. They have a very similar appearance on the outside. They have a very similar concept in the outline shape. They have the same cross-sectional shape, but and they actually have the same thickness. If you look at the thickness in a percentage value of the cord length. So this is the cord length, and then the thickness. You got the absolute thickness and the thickness as a percentage of the cord length. And so they have relatively similar characteristics from that point of view, but because this fin has a shorter cord, the absolute thickness is thinner, so the fin is a lot more flexible and a lot more twisty.
And what would it do? What would you feel while standing on the water while using this fin or that fin, theoretically?
Because it has a more flexible, twisty setup, it just feels a little bit softer in the water. It's not as directional, stable. It is a little bit more lively. Those are the main things I would say, and then the rest of it really depends on the layup on the inside of the fin, on how it behaves on the water. You have to use a different layup for a fin like this than a fin like this to make them similar or to make them behave similar, and you can only do that to a certain extent.
And while it was being accepted in the course racing family to have negative rake and put into, as they say it, put into the formula fins, our fins were being laughed at the beginning, having the raked fins for speed. What's your idea on having the rake, and why do we implement rake on the speed fins like this much?
Well, the rake on the speed fins has a completely different function than on the course race fins, because the ranges of speed that we sail at are completely different. There's probably the biggest factor to really go up to record high speeds in windsurfing is that at around 43, 44 knots, something strange is happening around a fully submerged foil, or a fin that is completely submerged in water. The pressure over the fin through the acceleration over the foil, it lowers the pressure that much that the water actually starts boiling off at room temperature. If you put a glass of water into a vacuum chamber and you pull a vacuum, it starts boiling at room temperature at a certain low pressure. And at speed sailing, you reach these pressures at around 43, 44 knots. So these onsets of cavitation, where you have little cavities of steam basically building over the fin, they increase the drag quite a lot and they reduce the lift. So they are a performance hindrance, and you have to basically, trying to get around that or trying to delay that. There's basically three main ways to go about that. One is to make the thickness of the section extremely thin, because thin foils have not as much curvature in it, so the water doesn't get accelerated as much. It cuts more straight through the water. So that is why on these fins we use very, very thin sections with only 7% thickness at the base and down to about 5% in the tip area.
And your work is being recognized by ProLimit right now. You were building your own fins, but you didn't like to stand in the shed all of the time anymore, I guess, and you restricted yourself to designing
after about
fins?
5 years of making fins all myself, it got a little bit long in the tooth, so needed a new challenge. And just end of last year we moved away from New Zealand for 2 years, going to Switzerland, so that was a perfect time to start something new, and got in contact with Alex from ProLimit, and well, he's very keen on bringing out a C3 design range of fins for the future, so we're really looking forward to that.